Welcome back to the Ed Show. Now, the next Republican debate is going to be on October 11th on Bloomberg. And I really want them to use this chart. Now, I've shown you this chart before. The red line is the income growth for the richest 1% of Americans since 1979. Look at that. The blue line, of course, is the average wage growth over the same period of time. It's almost totally flat. The average wage earner in America isn't making much more than he or she was some 30 years ago. I mean, it's the graph from Mother Jones. But the wealthiest Americans, well, they're up 240%. I guess you could say these are the job creators over here. The wages aren't doing anything, are they? And I've been begging any Republican to come on this show. I'm not trying to be a jerk. Just come on the show and provide some answers for the middle-class Americans who are down here. How can they know the truth about this chart and still promise tax cuts for the top 1%? Well, one Republican has answered my challenge. Presidential candidate Rick Santorum was on the show exactly 2 weeks ago, the last night of the Tea Party debate, and he said that he would get Americans back to work by cutting corporate tax rate and bringing American jobs back from overseas. I'm all about it. But I want to know, what is his plan for or any of the Republicans for that matter, for the 99% who have barely seen their incomes go up over the last 3 decades? I guess you could call it trickle-up economics. Does any Republican candidate really have a plan for the middle class? And why is it that the Republican candidates, they never talk about the middle class? President Obama's talking about the middle class. Even some other members in Congress are talking about the middle class. Maybe we could get Rick Santorum to talk about the middle class next. Stay with us.
We're CenturyLink, a new kind of broadband company committed to improving lives with honest personal service, 5-year price lock guarantees, and consistently fast speeds.
The Bistro at Courtyard. Refreshing new options, same refreshing value. Courtyard, it's a new stay.
I always had a job ever since I was 14. I could not make working and going to school work. It was not until the University of Phoenix that I was able to work full-time, be a mom, and go to school. The opportunities that I had at the University of Phoenix got me to where I am today. I'm Mayor Sheree Wood. I'm responsible for the largest urban renewal project in Utah, and I am a Phoenix.
University of Phoenix is proud to sponsor Education Nation because we believe an educated world is a better world.
I do not believe that state, federal, or local workers, unions, should be involved in unions. And I would actually support a bill that says that we should not have public employee unions for the purposes of wages and benefits to be negotiated.
Well, this shouldn't surprise you, but I don't have a lot in common with anyone who thinks that we should get rid of public employee unions. Now, we might not agree on much, but Senator Rick Santorum is not afraid to come on the program and talk about the issues, and I appreciate it. The former senator from Pennsylvania joins me tonight from his home state. Rick, I appreciate your time very much. You know, I just want some straight talking answers. I'm not here to dun you tonight. This is not an ambush, okay, or anything like that. But I need.
Hey, Ed, I'm packing. So
okay.
Don't worry. If you ambush, I'm packing.
Well, that's
ready.
Good. I'm a firearms owner, too, but I won't use it here in this interview.
Okay.
All right. Now, tax cuts for the wealthy. We've had tax cuts for the wealthy. Where are the jobs? Why haven't we had the job creation that everybody wants if all the breaks have gone to the top income earners? Basic question.
Yeah, well, I would say that what we need to do, and this is why I proposed the tax plan that I have, is to do something to create that wealth that's being generated, as you saw in that chart, by those who are the creators, the innovators, the folks that are driving this economy. And the problem is that too many of the products that have been invented and created and by the Steve Jobs of this world and others are not being made in America. And so you're not seeing the wage growth. I talk about when I was growing up as a kid in Butler, Pennsylvania, 21% of the workforce was involved in manufacturing. Now it's 9%. And as you know, if you want those those higher wage jobs, then you're going to have to do it in something that's going to make something. It's going to create real wealth. And so my plan is to get manufacturing going again in America. Obviously, we have some manufacturing jobs here. I know you are, and that's why I think we can get bipartisan support for what I'm doing.
I just don't hear any other Republicans talk about manufacturing whatsoever. But back to the point. You can't raise taxes on the job creators. That's what we hear from every Republican. Well, we haven't raised taxes on the job creators. So where are the jobs?
Well, I would say what we need to do is to be competitive in getting those jobs back to America. And if you look at what China and Indonesia and Mexico have done, they've created sort of sweetheart deals for manufacturers to go there, in addition to low labor rates, in addition to litigation,
Senator,
in addition to regulation.
I think the fair point that needs to be made, but you're saying the same answer again, and I get that. The point is that we have given, we need money in the Treasury. Now, whether we expand the tax base by creating more jobs, we need more money in the Treasury, no question. But we have given breaks, and the Republicans to a T say that you can't raise taxes on the job creators. Why aren't they investing those tax breaks into American jobs? It's easy to do. All you got to do is create something. Why aren't they doing that?
Well, obviously, they invested in a lot of those monies in jobs for a long time. We had 3-4% unemployment rate. So they were. But as you point out, and as I agree with you, that what we need to do is to revitalize that sector of the economy that creates real wage growth. We've had people stuck in the bottom couple of quintiles, and we need to create job growth and growth in wages by bringing back this manufacturing sector. So I would say that the overall policy is a good one, except that we haven't focused on where we need to if we want to create the kind of wage inflation, if you will, that we need to create a vibrant middle of America.
Senator,
and that's why my plan
we've
to
been
cut
through.
the tax.
We have been through Reagan's tax cuts. We have been through Bush 41, Bush 43. Okay, we saw 22 million jobs created during the Clinton years. Okay, so since the 1980s, okay, and now we've got President Obama as the second Democratic president. The point being here is the economic plan for the Republicans to continually to give the tax breaks to the top. Can't you admit it just hasn't worked, and we got to do something different?
Well, I would say that it certainly has worked in a lot of respects. I mean, we had very low rates of unemployment. We had record low rates of unemployment for quite a long time in this country until we had the catastrophe that was caused in large part by the housing industry and Fannie and Freddie. And I was one of the people who was sounding the alarm.
Which is what the Republicans push a lot of.
Deregulation. No. It wasn't deregulation at all. It was for Fannie and Freddie holding all these assets that they shouldn't have been holding, that we needed actually to have less being held by these folks. And that's one of the I was one of the people that signed a letter back in 2005 and 6 and said we better reform these two institutions or we're going to have a meltdown. And it's exactly what happened. So, part of it was government regulation and government markets that caused the bubble and that caused the loose lending practices that led to the problems.
Well, it was deregulation that took us to where we are in the housing market. There's no question about that. And we should have never had that regulation. We should have never had that regulation leave us in 1999. Finally, the next thing. We had
a lot of regulation that forced a lot of folks who should not have been buying homes to get those homes.
I'll tell you what's hurt the job market, Senator. What's hurt the job market is the outsourcing of jobs. And through all of these debates, we have not heard any Republican candidate say outsourcing in any of these. I want to hear you go after that because that's where America is right now. And the profits at the top are going overseas. The profits are going overseas, and nobody's got a plan to bring it back. I did hear you. All right.
Well, I have a plan to bring it back, and it's to create an atmosphere in this country where manufacturers can get a good return on their investment. That's the plan I'm putting forward.
If you were the nominee, would you run on a platform to make the Bush tax cuts permanent?
Oh, absolutely. I think we just need to keep the rates pretty much. We need certainty in the environment right now.
Okay.
We can't be looking at folks saying we're going to increase taxes on job creators.
All right.
Let's keep the tax rates where they are and focus in on one particular area, which is manufacturing, and let's create a 0% corporate tax on manufacturers so we can bring those jobs back here to this country, allow the folks who did
Gotcha, Senator.
have
Appreciate it.
those gains.
You're on that subject. Okay. There's no doubt about it. There's
well,
no
that's
doubt.
what you want me to talk about. You asked me to come here and talk about
no, that's
how
good,
we're
and I
get
appreciate
those jobs
it.
back,
but you also said,
okay.
just said that you would go along with the failed economic policy to continue to give tax breaks to the wealthiest Americans, and the majority of Americans don't agree with that position. I got to point that out. I want to have you back again if we can. I'm out of time. I got to run. Former Senator Rick Santorum with us tonight here on the Ed Show.